our Gary Lineberry, is that who we're going to now? He's been, all right, he has this really nice chopper shot right here of carrying the body of Michael Jackson. I guess they've landed at the coroner's office?
That's right. They have landed here at the ground level heliport. This is the old heliport for the County USC Medical Center, which is actually right across the parking lot from the coroner's office. Now what they will do here is offload the body. There's an ambulance right here, and they will put that in the ambulance and then take him by ambulance around to the coroner's office, which is very close by, but a little bit of a distance on the as far as going by ambulance is concerned. So we're going to stay here and observe this. They just landed here, so that should be happening very soon.
All right, and again, once he is taken, or his body is taken off that helicopter, and I'm sure the autopsy will be conducted right away.
It's, you know, it's something when you see, I think people have all had their personal experiences with losing a family member and you know, seeing them take the body of your family member from the hospital and then off they go to the coroner's office. But the whole world has access to this shot of Michael Jackson's body being taken to the coroner.
Well, this is something, this man grew up on television. He grew up in front of us, and he is going away in front of us as well. We will be covering every step of what's happening.
Memorials, I'm sure, a funeral, you know, who knows
Not
whether
sure.
that'll be.
His mother is a devout Jehovah's Witness, and Michael actually adopted her particular religion in his adult life. So not exactly sure. They certainly will not have, well, the Jehovah's Witness practice is not to have a casket, not to be on display. The body actually usually is cremated, and they do have memorial services. So in this case, not exactly sure, obviously, about plans for that. It's still very early yet, but one can only imagine.
I'm sure provisions, people like Michael have people, I mean, around them, the business
and
people, you would make provisions, that one would think.
Had penned what he wanted to happen. I would not be surprised. Someone who is as thoughtful, and I think I could say thoughtful, just in terms of a man that could write the kind of music that he wrote, and to put those kinds of, to put words on paper. A lot had to do with his life. Earlier when Dave Malkoff was out at the Star and they were singing the song, I think it was Leave Me Alone. Stop Pressuring Me, Man in the Mirror.
Scream, we heard
so many things that were very relevant in his life that he put to paper. So, you know, one can only imagine that he probably even has this chapter already written, Rick, and has specific ideas as to what should happen.
You would think.
Just saying.
You know, and I don't know if this is true or not. It's hard to figure out what is fact and what was the rumor, but he had apparently spoke some years back about the fact that he didn't think he would live a full life. That's not unlike artists, by the way. That's not unlike artists to think that they're not going to make it, you know, fully.
No, they sing about it. But remember, at one point, he was. There were stories about his body being in a chamber to actually prolong,
hyperbolic chamber to
extend his life. So.
Well, he had a lot of interesting things going on. I mean, you know, the hyperbolic chamber you spoke of, Bubbles, the chimp that lived with him,
I met Bubbles.
He bought the bones to the Elephant Man. I mean, he was
he had a full-on zoo at Neverland Ranch. Every animal imaginable. Of course, the llamas and the giraffes. He had a number of things that you would say were eccentric. In terms of what just to have in the backyard. But then again, Michael Jackson never did anything small, did he?
No.
He always did things in a huge way.
And we're watching this all the way to the very end in a huge way as they load his body into that coroner's van. You know, when you talk about being eccentric, there were some qualities that were very similar to another eccentric, very, very well-to-do man, Howard Hughes, that they think that Michael Jackson had too, in terms of germ phobias and things like that. Thus the gloves and the mask that he would very often wear. And
a lot of comparisons, but the most famous glove of all will be that sequined glove that Michael Jackson wore, I believe, on his right hand. I mean, there have been so many replicas, and they already have some of his items on display. Remember, he just called off an auction. He's going to have an auction off some memorabilia in terms of raising money. So they already have some items on display, but I'm sure the Smithsonian or these artifacts will forever now be treasured.
Well,
that's for sure.
it's interesting that you say that, because he did find himself in some financial difficulties after you know, the case, the molestation case, which he was acquitted of. I think, didn't Neverland go into foreclosure at that time? Somebody
Yes.
was supposedly going to come in and rescue it, and I don't think that ever happened.
So it's not an advance then. You did actually you did. You just did actually say that. That's why I said that. You did actually say advance. And you go, it's not advance, it's guarantee. You did, and then you changed it. Yeah, you just changed it. You
But
just actually
he
said that. Retarded.
was thought at one point to be worth about $1 billion, and that would include.
You did say that just now. You said that you were okay, whatever. Okay, I don't want to talk anymore. I'm not in a good mood. You're annoying. No, I don't fucking appreciate discussing smelling people. You don't care.
Include not only just his own work, but he even purchased the library to the Beatles music at one.